Hello, and thank you for joining us again here at Grace Community Church. As always, I hope this video finds you doing well and finding some joy and peace in your life. This week, as far as, our centering verse, centering prayer, I'm looking at a verse out of Matthew 11, verse 29, and specifically just the one phrase that starts verse 29, where Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you." And, as always, I really hope that we are doing our best to try to implement this meditative practice into our daily life. It's really important if we can just stop, shut down all the noise, shut down all the movement, shut down all the busyness, and just take at least 20 minutes a day to just be still. Not thinking about our finances, not thinking about our kids, not thinking about our work, not thinking about anything. But just being still, allowing the thoughts to leave our mind, and just be present with the Lord. And once again, that's what these centering verses are here to help us with, because as we are getting into that moment, we take 3 to 4 really deep breaths into our stomach. We feel that the diaphragm fill up with air, not necessarily the chest, but the diaphragm. We do that 3 to 4 times, and then just focus on our breathing. Breathe in, Yah, breathe out, Way. Because once again, remember, God's name is not necessarily a name. That's why we can't say it, because it's not a word. It's a sound. It's the sound of breath. Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh. And we just focus on that, just stay there. Now, once again, as always, thoughts are always going to come into our mind. It's what it's supposed to do. And we don't want to judge that. We don't want to get frustrated when that happens. We don't want to, just feel defeated when we fail by allowing thoughts to come into our mind. Because once again, it's not any of those things. It's supposed to happen. But that's why we have the centering verse. Is when we recognize that we've gone off into thought, we just use that centering verse to bring us back, focus on our breath. And so this week, the phrase, "take my yoke upon you," why is that, well, first of all, I don't know why it's hitting me this week. It just did. But I want to put in a little bit of context. So verse 28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So many of us are going through life, and we're so burdened, we're so weighed by all the things we got going on, all the things I mentioned before, our finances, our kids, our work, or whatever else is going on around us, and we're trying to plow a field by carrying this yoke, right? And Jesus is saying, "Let me take your burdens. Take my yoke upon you and rest." And so when we're in that moment and we've done our deep breaths, we've kind of cleared our mind, we're focusing on the Yah and the way of our breath, and our mind begins to wander, don't judge it, don't condemn it, don't get frustrated with it, just say, "Nope, I'm going to take your yoke upon me." Just go back to being still, go back to focusing on your breath, put all of your burdens, all of your stresses, all of your frustrations, put all of your yoke on him, and then take his yoke upon you, because his burden is easy, right? He says that. He says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And so, for me, there's really no centering verse right now that could be better than that. I mean, that sums it all up with what we're trying to do with this meditation or centering prayer. Once again, I don't care what language you use, but it's taking your yoke, or taking his yoke upon you, and allowing you to just be still, to be light, not to have all these burdens, not to have all these frustrations, just for 20 minutes a day. To just be still and be present and not worry about your yoke. And So like I said, I really hope that you're practicing this. One of the things I would hope for is that if you are practicing this, if you are doing this every week, let me know. I want to hear. I want to know what you're seeing, what you're feeling. If you're noticing anything different, so if you're going through this every week, shoot me an email. So give me a call and let me know and say, yeah, you know what, I've been practicing this. I've been, when I first did it, I was able to get to a couple minutes, because once again, when you first start trying to do meditation, it's difficult. We're not used to it. So you might start out just trying and setting a timer for 5 minutes and just seeing if you can get 5 minutes, right? The optimum time is 20 minutes. A lot of people try to get an hour. Once again, a lot of us don't have an hour to just sit still and do nothing, right? But maybe we can get to 20 minutes. Maybe we can take that time to just be still for 20 minutes. And if you can build up to that, great. But I want to know where you're at on this. I want to know if you're doing this, because once again, I'm putting this together. I'm sharing this every week, and I don't know if anybody's doing anything with it, And so, I just really want to make sure that you guys are practicing this. And if you are, and if you're seeing something out of it, let me know. I would appreciate that. And once again, then it just also could help encourage you on your way, because once again, sometimes this does get frustrating. Last week, I had a really difficult time doing this. My mind was everywhere, and it was really difficult for me to just sit still, clear my mind, and just focus on the verse, or focus on my breath. And so some days I was only able to get 5 minutes. I wasn't able to get all the way to 20. It was a struggle, and that's going to happen. But we just got to continue to move forward with it, continue to try, and continue. But once again, don't force it. Don't think that this is something you're going to do wrong. You can't do it. There's no way to meditate wrong. There's no way. Sit however you want to sit. You don't have to sit in lotus position. You don't have to it's just making the intention to be still and to be present that matters. Okay? And so if you do it laying down in bed, if you do it sitting in your recliner with your feet up, because that's what I do. I have a recliner in my office. I sit there, I pick the thing up and put my feet up and just lay back and just, I'll get into it. And so, but anyway, it's just important that we practice this. So Matthew this week, Matthew 11, 29, just that phrase, take my yoke upon you. And use that to center, and let me know how it goes for you. Okay.